Alright guys, I'm going to do some content that's going to be a little bit quicker than usual because I know a lot of people, sometimes they are busy, they don't have time to get through the whole hour, 2 hours that I do. So I'm going to try to do some shorter stuff over the next couple weeks, just random, really, just whatever pops into my mind. A lot of people ask, or I find myself talking to, people in the comments section or something, and, people just, a lot of times they're very kind and they say, thank you for all that you do, etc. And, I like to tell people kind of what motivates me and what the purpose of the content that I'm doing is. And so, best way I would describe it is, critical review, education, dialogue, and mainly for myself to learn alongside everybody else, because pretty much trying to teach something to somebody else has the person who's doing the teaching engaging in the trivium process. And so that's what this video is going to be about. And these slides that I'm presenting to you are actually from the presentation that Mark Passio did, but it's nice and simple, and it really was what showed me this concept. And so I'm going to show it to you this way because it's very simple. It doesn't take a lot of time to get through this at all. We can probably do it in 10 to 15 minutes, and that's just with my rambling. So the slides start off with a quote from the book Transformation of America by Kathy O'Brien and Mark Phillips. Quote, "For every problem there exists a solution. The formula for the problem solving rests firmly on the quality of the supporting research information concerning the nature of the problem." Unquote. By Mark Phillips. So the symbol in the background, there's a few different ways to, it's a triskelion, a triform, the prefix tri, there's different variations of it. If you even go to the Isle of Man, you'll find one that's like 3 legs. It's the same symbol, but it's like 3 legs. And it's on the cover of the Aquarian Conspiracy. It seemingly is a bit of a symbol for the new age, and it has to do with trivium, the trivium method. Literally trivium from Latin tres or tria, three ways, via, way, path, or road, the threefold path to truth, or the way. So if you go to the golden ratio here, or if you look at it as like the Pythagorean theorem, you could look at it a bunch of different ways, because I think this really unifies all of it together. Speaking of, if you guys haven't, I urge you guys, and I will put a link in the description to check out the video that I did. Move this really quickly. Let's see. Yeah, on the absolute key to occult science, pretty much it goes back to the same idea. This can be linked to the repeating pattern of active, passive, neutral regeneration, proton, electron, neutron, atom, father, mother, child, family, etc. And so I argue that the trivium is just the logical expression of the same pattern, but I'm going to put a link to this in the description for you guys to check out. This is found in the book of Genesis, how the creation week actually correlates if you look at 1 through 4 and then 4 through 7, with 7 being, the most important day, the day of rest, but that defines the septenary. That's a really good series of videos I did. You guys should check that out. And it pretty much is identical to the trivium when you get into it. Okay, so here, the map of the trivium is that you have 3 representing the trivium. Trivium means 3, okay? The quadrivium is the magic 4. It's the regeneration. When you go to 1, 2, 3, 4 reduces back to 1, and that's why I recommended the videos that I just showed you. I'm not going to get into all of the math and stuff in this video, but there's literally this happens in all of the numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, then it happens with 7, then it happens with 10, etc., etc., 13. It goes on forever. So trivium 3, when you put a father, a mother, and a child together, you have a family. So whatever the family is to, bringing the 3 together, when you bring the mother, the father, and the child together, you get this magic, mystical number 4, and that's the word family. It's that scaling up. Now a family can be the basis of a society now, etc. Okay, so that's the trivium being 3. The quadrivium is what I just explained. That's the 4. And then we have 5 senses. That's what's called the hypotenuse of the triangle here. That's the longest side, the hypotenuse. Okay, the trivium can be explained in 3 different domains, that being the classical, the esoteric, and modern. So the classical, literally, these were 3 subjects that were taught in ancient times. In ancient Greece, they would teach children the trivium. If you're really rich and you had the means to get an education, they would teach you grammar, they would teach you logic, and they would teach you rhetoric. That was the 3 classes that you had. In the esoteric, the middle column there, you have knowledge, understanding, and wisdom from the tree of life and Kabbalah. And then on the modern end, here in 2026, it has to do with input, processing, output, which if you've seen my cybernetics videos, my AP psychology teacher, when I've started that class, he told us as a class, he said, human behavior is fundamentally works like this. We take in information from our 5 senses, we do something with it, and then we act back out. In other words, input, processing, and output. So on the tree of life, the trivium would be wisdom, understanding, and the hidden knowledge, that being that hidden 4. Chokma, Bina, and Doth, which is the hidden. It's like supposed to be hidden for some reason. I don't know. I guess because of the analogy that I gave before. It's a really interesting. I really urge people to watch the video that I showed, the absolute key. It's fascinating to me. I put a lot of time into that video. I think it's important because everything I've ever studied, anywhere you find 4 quadrants, or you find a model of psychology and they have 4 personality types, it's based on, the number 4 has inherent properties. The quadrivium. Here in computing, you have an input, processing, output. The output being the monitor and the printer, the input being the mouse and the keyboard, and the processing being the computer itself. Here's another layout of the trivium process. You have on the first row, row 1, input, grammar or knowledge. Gathering data from eclectic just means you need data from sources that are good. You need even some data that can act as a control for, what you don't want. How do you know what you don't want unless you find some data and say, yeah, this is what I don't want. And so you need eclectic sources. You need to get data from all the locations you can. That way you can do the processing on the data and you can actually distinguish A from B. Gathering data from eclectic array of sources without prejudging it. Answers: who, what, where, and when. If you're not getting the answers to the big 5, who, what, where, when, and why, which we're going to get to why, then you're really straying far from the path. You have to get the answers to the who, what, where, when, and why, the raw data. The second row, processing, logic, and understanding, comprised of 3 basic sub-steps: filtration, correlation, and analysis. The quadrivium is largely utilized here. It enables us to learn the why. What is the reason, meaning, or purpose? And finally, the third row on the bottom, output, rhetoric, which is what I'm doing now, teaching. Rhetoric, wisdom, speech and action based upon the knowledge that one has gathered and understands. This is how knowledge and understanding are propagated to spread themselves so that real and positive change can be created. It's the generative principle. You know, it has to spread or propagate itself in the same way, you know, animals would. You know, a mouse will survive through having children, so knowledge has to do the same. But I can't just like take the knowledge and throw it at you and you absorb it. It only works if we engage in this process, because it's literally just sex, because commerce is sex. It's generative force. It's what happens when you bring up a proton together with an electron, and then you, boom, you get a neutron. I don't know if there's a model for that, but I assume there is, because it works that way everywhere else. And the final slide, that's it. That's all this clip is going to be. Told you it was going to be short. Ends with a quote from Terence McKenna. The world is made of words, and if you know the words that the world is made of, you can make it whatever you wish. Leave your questions, comments, concerns in the comments section. Hit the like button, the subscribe button. Check out the video, The Absolute Key to Occult Science. That will be in the description. Check out the Cybernetic series. All of this kind of goes together. So I wish you all the best. Have a good night, guys.